Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Welcome to the Disney Days Planning Podcast. This podcast is information about Walt Disney World, which is organized by topic. I'm your host, Alyssa Salveson. Hello, welcome to the Disney Days Planning Podcast. Today's episode's a little different. So I have an upcoming trip. Actually, we're leaving this week. And it's 2 weeks long, again, just like my trip in December was. But what's different about this trip is we're going with a very large number of people. My immediate family's going, but so are my in-laws, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and their families too. And also my husband's cousin and her family. So there's a total of 17 people going. Plus we have another family that's going to be, actually we have a bunch of other families that are going to be down there. So I thought I'd take the opportunity right now to talk about how I plan my trips, and the focus this episode is especially about large trip planning. This is a little different format than my other episodes, so bear with me and please give me some feedback if you liked this type of episode. Okay, so my dates are we check in February 9th, and check out February 21st. So check in Sunday and check out the following Friday. We're staying off property at Orange Lake Resort, which is where we are owners of a timeshare there. My in-laws are. That's why this whole big family is going. My husband's family has been going to that same place. This is basically President's Day week for years, for decades, I want to say. Like every year for President's Day that week, they would go to Orange Lake and to Disney and Universal. So we're also my immediate family, so my husband and our 3 kids and myself, we're staying at the Dolphin one night as well. So we're going to stay actually the 8th at the Dolphin, and we're using our Marriott points for that, and then checking into Orange Lake the next day. I think I mentioned in my last trip report, we got an owner's locker. I'll link them in the show notes. So I have to actually, after I record this podcast, I'm going to go on and schedule my delivery for the owner's locker. I'm not going to have them deliver it to the Dolphin. I'm just going to have them deliver to Orange Lake on February 9th. So I need to make sure to go and schedule that. So when scheduling things for large groups, so my whole family, my brother-in-law and his family, and my sister-in-law and her family, and my in-laws. So that's a total of 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 people. We're all going to be together on February 14th, Valentine's Day, at Magic Kingdom. So in order to make those reservations, like 14 people is too much to make for one person to make a reservation for. What I do for 14, I break into 2, usually 7 and 7, or like 6 and 8, something like that. I usually take my in-laws, so I'll make a reservation for 7, and then I'll have my sister-in-law make a reservation for another for 7 for her family, and my brother-in-law. So I assign family leaders basically. So my sister-in-law and I were the 2 people to make 2 separate dining reservations, but within 15 minutes of each other, or as close as we could get. Sometimes you can get the exact same time, but sometimes you can't. So it's slightly staggered. It's no problem. When you go to check in to the earlier reservation, you just tell the cast member, hey, yes, my group is this, but this reservation is also with us if you're able to accommodate. Sometimes they'll seat you at the same table, or they'll seat you at tables next to each other if they're able to. Maybe you have to wait a little bit. We are always fine with that. It's never like an emergency. But that's my biggest tip. So when you have a large number, break it into 2 or 3 smaller groups. I have had to do 3 reservations before. One year we went to Disney with 23 or 24 people at Hollywood Studios, and I had to break it into 3 larger groups, or even 4, I don't remember. Same with if you're doing lightning lanes, multi-pass. I should do an episode on lightning lanes soon. If you're doing multi-pass, same thing. I'd break a large group like that into smaller groups. It is going to be hard to get a lightning lane for a group of 14, maybe even a group of 7. it might be difficult. But 4 is a lot more manageable. 4 and 3 is a lot more manageable. So I had family leaders and we would coordinate. The family leaders would coordinate. We'd say, okay, what's next? Okay, want to try to get Smuggler's Run next? Okay, ready, let's go. And we usually, if you do it around the same time, you'll get a call. The callbacks would overlap a little bit. And if not, you can try to modify, or you can talk to a cast member. They're usually very accommodating, or you're slightly off. But that's my biggest tip. You separate into family leaders, or if like other people are not interested if other people in your travel party are not interested in planning at all, then you can just log into your account and another account. Like sometimes I'll log into my husband's account and make the reservations that way if I don't want to bother my sister-in-law is so busy. I don't want to bother her to like wake up at 6 a.m. and log on and try to, get a reservation. Sometimes I'll just do it from I'll have like, or someone could change their password to like something very easy for you to go on and make the reservations from your account and from the other person's account. And that way it's all done. I've done that for people before too. So those are like my biggest tips, biggest planning in advance tips. Then, well, I guess the multi-lane isn't planning in advance. Those are some of my biggest tips. To break into smaller groups and then just have family leaders coordinate together. Another tip of mine when traveling with a large group, it's also a good tip when traveling with young children, I think, plan for one sit-down meal a day. I started doing this when we went for my twins' first birthday, and it was pandemic time. It was weird. The twins were 1, and they were premature, so they were, small and a little bit developmentally delayed, a little bit. So, but whatever, regardless, they were babies. And I started doing that. I was like, we're going to have one sit-down meal a day at each of the theme parks because it is a larger group, and if people want to split up, there's a lot of babies coming to this trip too. I have 3 kids. My kids are the oldest ones, though, at 5. My twins, well, they're not quite 5, but they're almost 5. And then my baby actually just turned 3, or is turning 3 on Thursday, but he's 3. Okay, so my kids, then my sister-in-law's son's 2, and her baby's 8 months old. And then my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, their baby is 7 months old. So we have a lot of babies, a lot of young kids, a lot of energy. So I like to schedule one sit-down meal a day. This takes a little bit of pressure off, I think, of all having to stay together. If a family wants to break off, or if a baby's having a meltdown and you need to go to the baby care center, or find a quiet place somewhere, or take a stroll in the stroller because the baby needs to nap or something, I think having a set time each day that you will be all together relieves a little pressure. The family then doesn't feel as bad being like, you know what, guys, we got to break away. Meet you, we'll meet up with you later. I think it relieves a little bit of pressure. In the past, we've really always stayed together. Actually, we haven't broken apart, which I figured we would have in such a large group. We haven't yet. But I like to have that sit-down meal a day so the pressure's off. And this trip, I'm almost anticipating a little bit of break off because there's so many babies, so many like young kids. So that's another good tip. So, and it's something you need to budget for sure, but you're already spending a lot of money. Like, what? It could also just be a quick service. It doesn't have to be in a restaurant. It doesn't have to be a sit-down meal. I like to plan a sit-down meal. I like a table service. That's how I like to plan. It's a little more organized. I can book it far in advance. You know what I mean? That's how I like to do it. It doesn't have to be. If you want to save a little bit of money, you could say, hey, we're meeting at Columbia Harbor House, which is a quick service. We're meeting at Columbia Harbor House at 3 p.m. See you there. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit. So those are my big planning tips for large groups. Okay. And obviously everyone have your phone charged because you're going to have to text one another a lot. Now I'm going to go into my agenda for our trip, what we're going to do each day tentatively. So like I said, the 8th we are staying at the Dolphin. at the Dolphin Resort. It's over in the boardwalk area. I love that area. And I think the Swan Dolphin and Swan Reserve are really special and a nice addition to Disney. They're like friends of Disney. So you get all the same benefits that on like a Disney World resort you'd have, but you can use Marriott points. They're owned and operated by the Marriott brand. And we have a Marriott Bonvoy card, and so have lots of points, and we get one-time use gifts that are like 80,000 points or something. So it's perfect to use at those resorts because we love Disney World. We go there a lot, and the gifts expire, so it's a nice way to like add on a little Disney magic to a stay that we're already doing. So I'm excited for that. We have my immediate family, we all have annual passes and we have blackout dates. We have a weekday only annual pass, so we can't go to theme parks on the weekend, which is fine. We really don't need to. We make our passes too. So we're not going to go to a theme park. We're going to really hang out just at the Dolphin. We could play mini golf. The Fantasia mini golf is in that area, and we're going to just go and explore the boardwalk. I love the boardwalk area. I think actually even Saturday night we could walk over and watch the Epcot fireworks there's like a little bridge over there right by the International Gateway. So we can go do that. We could ride the Skyliner. We could do all sorts of different things that are Disney-ish without going into a theme park. So that's our plan for the 8th and the 9th. Just hang out at the resort, explore the pools, maybe play mini golf if the boys want, walk around the boardwalk. Maybe I'll look to make a dining reservation. The Swan and the Dolphin have amazing dining options, actually. So I'll be sure to report back after staying there. I've never stayed at the Swan or Dolphin. I've stayed at the Swan Reserve, which is like really a chic hotel. It's nice. It's not the same as like a Disney World hotel with the theming, like the Disney resorts, like Grand Floridian is super themed. You're not getting, it's a Marriott, but it's awesome. Anyway, it was a really nice resort. So I'm excited about the Dolphin as well. Anyway, I haven't even thought about, I'll look this week to try to make a reservation for that. Okay, anyway, then the 9th we check into Orange Lake. That's the Super Bowl too. One of our family friends is having a Super Bowl party down there. We'll hang out, easy peasy. Monday, I don't have any plans either on the 10th. So we'll likely just hang out at Orange Lake, go to the pool, maybe play bingo at the pool. There's bingo. And then the evening's open. So at that point, if Paul and I, like, maybe we want to, if I can get a dining reservation at one of the theme parks, maybe we can just go into a theme park for dinner. After 2 o'clock, we don't need a park reservation. And actually, there's a few days on this trip where you don't need a park reservation. That's really just an annual pass holder thing. Most people, if you have like a date-based ticket where you buy it for this date and expires on this date, like there's just 3 or 7 days to use your tickets, you don't need a park reservation. So this is not applicable to you. But we have annual passes and we still do need to make park reservations. But a couple of these days, they're good to go days where you don't need to make a park reservation, but even still you can enter a park after 2 o'clock. So I'm thinking we just hang out on the 10th and decide last minute if we want to hop into a theme park. Now on the 11th, I do have a plan to go to Hollywood Studios. That is a good to go day. I didn't need to make a theme park reservation, but I did make a lunch reservation, and we missed seeing Fantasia, which is Fantasmic, not Fantasia, Fantasmic, which is the fireworks show or the evening spectacular. It's a fireworks show on the water. It's beautiful. Fantasmic's an amazing show, and that's at Hollywood Studios. That's their evening show, their nighttime entertainment. We missed it this last trip. We didn't get to Fantasmic. So that was a priority for this trip. I usually do that. Whatever we miss the previous trips, I try to make a priority for our next trip. So Fantasmic's certainly one of them. So I actually did a Fantasmic dining package for this next date, which is Tuesday, February 11th. So I chose Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, which I've been dying to go to anyway. I think the kids will really get a kick out of it. It's like you're sitting in cars in a drive-in theater. It's really cool, but the car is like your table and they bring you your food. It's a cool vibe, and I haven't eaten there in eons and ages. So I'm excited to go back. So we have a 2:45 sci-fi lunch, late lunch, and that's guaranteed and priority seating for Fantasmic at 8 o'clock. I believe it's 8 o'clock. I'll have to look at my in my app. So we're going to spend the day at Hollywood Studios. I haven't decided if we're doing multipass or not. All of December, I did not do that. And for those of you wondering, multipass is kind of a skip the line. It's not really skip the line. You have to still wait in a line, but often that line is shorter. It is a paid service. So back in the day, pre-COVID, you could get 3 free lightning lanes, or what was it called? Fast passes. That's what it was called. So when you bought your tickets, you also had 3 free fast passes, I believe a day, that you could book in advance. After COVID, that all went away. And then when a couple years later, when it came back, post-COVID closure, it came as a paid service, which we all knew was happening. And it has changed. I don't even know. It's changed so much, and it keeps changing that it's really actually hard to keep track of. But right now, as it works, it's a paid service. You can book 3 rides in advance. And then once you swipe into your first ride, you can make another a lightning lane reservation or multi-pass reservation. I'm like forgetting the terms because they keep changing. And I haven't used this new system. It kind of just came out in the summer, I think. And I haven't used it since. So anyway, I haven't decided if I'm going to do it. In December, I contemplated it almost every day, but it was expensive. It was like $28 a day in December. So I'll see how much it costs. If it's under $20, maybe I'll get it for this Hollywood Studio Days day, really just to play around with it so I can speak more intelligibly to you about it, how it works. But I'm not sure. It was just a little bit high of a cost, I thought then. Okay, so that's the Tuesday, the 11th, is a Hollywood Studio Day, and it's just my family. My husband's might meet us there. I'm not sure if he's going to work or not, but it's just me and my 3 boys. We'll go by ourselves likely, and then hopefully Paul will meet us there for lunch for the sci-fi reservation, and then there for Fantasmic. We'll do probably a quick service for dinner because I don't have anything planned there. Okay, then the 12th, I don't have anything planned, but our family arrives. This is where my brother-in-law and the baby and my sister-in-law come, and my sister-in-law and her husband, my other brother-in-law, and their 2 kids come. So all the family will be together on the 12th, so I figure we'll just stay at Orange Lake, all hang out. I'm sure my mother-in-law will make meatballs and sauce. So that'll be a fun, just all together day. 13th, I also don't have a plan. Likely we'll just hang out, with the cousins and whatever. The 14th, we all are going to Magic Kingdom. So this is where I enlisted the help of my sister-in-law. And I think my brother-in-law too. But my sister-in-law, yes, and we made a reservation for Tony's. The Tony's restaurant, which is right on Main Street. It's Lady and the Tramp themed. It's like an Italian restaurant. Now, I used to despise this restaurant. I thought it was disgusting, and I would never eat there again. It's so charming, super charming. But I was like, oh, this is gross. I ate there once. I was like, I'm never eating here again. But then I started hearing really good reviews. See, things change. Then I started hearing really good reviews about it. So my husband and I, with our kids, we tried it a couple years ago. And it was good. It was much better than before. So you know what? I'm giving it another shot. The other thing about Tony's, if you time your reservation correctly, it's right on the parade route. So you can watch the parade while you're either dining or while you're waiting for your reservation. So I did that. We made a 2:45 reservation. The parade starts at 3. So figure by the time it gets to Main Street, what do you think? 3:15-ish? I feel like we'll just be sitting down, maybe order, and then a couple of us can go out with the kids, watch the parade, and hopefully when we go back, our food will be ready. You know what I mean? So I thought I planned that out pretty well. Or perhaps we could, I'm going to ask to see if we could get an outdoor table. And then that way we don't have to, you know what I mean? We'll be outside and can see the parade as it comes by. So yes, that's a Magic Kingdom day. And it's a big group. That there's going to be 14 of us. There'll be 14 of us on that Friday. My in-laws are coming too. So that'll be nice. We may do multi-pass that day. We'll see. With that big group, they might want to do it, especially with all the babies, just to maximize our experience. If we do that, likely we'll break into 3 different groups. Because, well, my family would just be, I don't know, we'll have to figure it out because the babies don't need tickets. We'll have to figure it out. We could probably just do 2 groups, actually. That would be fine. There could just be me and one other leader to make the multi-pass reservation. So we might do multi-pass on the 14th. The 15th is a Saturday, and I made a Chef Mickey's reservation for 11:30. My sister-in-law and I did. We split it, into 2 groups. And that's, again, the same 14 of us, my, in-laws and us. We thought a character meal with Mickey, Minnie would be nice for the babies to guarantee some character interaction. The 16th, we think we're going to do an adult, just the siblings, Universal Day. So that'll be fun. My husband's a little sour about it because Universal is very expensive. Honestly, it's more expensive than Disney World. And I always think Disney World's very expensive. But we haven't been in so long, and something my brother-in-law really wants to do. And I haven't been since 2018 or 2019. So I'd like to go back. So I'm in. Hopefully my husband will join me. And then my in-laws and family friends will babysit all 6 children. The next day is President's Day, the 17th, and we're going to go to SeaWorld that day. My father-in-law bought on Groupon, he bought a bunch of SeaWorld tickets. Oh, also, we have our aunt. Okay, so the 15th, the Saturday, my Paul's aunt and Paul's cousin, her husband, and her son, they check in on the 15th. So we're going to have 3 or 4 more people for that. Her husband doesn't go to the Disney parks, though. So for planning purposes, it's 3, but there'll be 4 people there, too. So I'm not sure if they'll join us Universal or not. 17th, President's Day, they'll all be there. So it's a big group. That's 17 of us for SeaWorld. Then the 18th, that's a lot of park days in a row, which I don't necessarily love. But the 18th, we're going to go to Epcot. And I have a Garden Grill reservation. And we broke that into 2 different reservations. I made one, and then our cousin Laura, she made the other reservation. And we have, like I said, a Garden Grill reservation. And you know what? I am forgetting what time that is. Let me look. 11:35. Oh, that's right. I remember this. So I purposely chose an early time because it's in the front of the park. It's in the land pavilion. So in my head, this is where it helps to know the parks. Okay, so that's why, if you're going, listen to my overview because I kind of describe the layout. Epcot's also a very large theme park. It might be the largest one. Well, Animal Kingdom might be because of the safari. But of spaces that you walk, I think Epcot's the largest one. It is a very large theme park. And the front of the park is large, and the back of the park, the World Showcase, is large. So really, you got to think about where you're going to be at what time. So in my head, I figure we're going to get there. We're walking in the front, not World Showcase. We're going to be walking in the front, not International Gateway, the front of the park. So I figure, okay, we'll do all the rides in the front. We'll do Spaceship Earth. There's actually a lot of rides for littles. Everyone thinks Epcot, a lot of people will say Epcot is an adult park. It's an adult park. And yes, there's booze and lots of great food. So it is attractive to adults and culture. But there's tons of things for littles to do too, truly. So in the front of the park, there's Spaceship Earth. There's the Encanto Fiesta thing, which is is entertainment. You can learn so much in the pavilions, but in the Seas Pavilion, there's the Nemo ride. There's an aquarium, a full aquarium. There's Turtle Talk with Crush, which is a fun, interactive experience, show kind of thing. But there's a live actor talking to you, but it's animated as Crush. It's really cool. You can do that. You could spend an hour at the aquarium easily in the Sea Pavilion. The Land Pavilion has a show in there. tons of dining up. Soarin', which my kids can't go on. Well, maybe the older two can. But the kids can't really go on Soarin', but the adults can. You can the kids can be running around in the pavilion while the adults are going on Soarin'. Your rider switching. There's Living with the Land, which is a must do, in my opinion, in the Land Pavilion. Then there's the Imagination Pavilion with Figment. There's the Figment ride. There's usually a Figment meet and greet. There's the Moana. You can meet Moana. There's the Journey of Water experience, which is really cool. And you can spend as much or as little time as you want in there. You can kill hours in the front of the park alone. So that's why I made an 11:35 reservation. I wanted it early, knowing we'd walk in the front of the park and let's stay in the front of the park until our reservation. Also on the other side, there's so that's all the front right of the park that I described. In the center, you can meet Mickey and Minnie. That's where the Encanto thing is like in the center too. There's a lot of a humongous gift shop there. Awesome. Connections. Or I forget what it's called, but I think Connections. Well, Creations, I think maybe. They have all the names have changed. Then on the left side, when you walk into the left now, is the mission space. There's actually a playground in that area too. There's Space 220 Lounge. I'm thinking maybe we could go up. I mean, if we have to call time, maybe we can go up and try to get a drink. The kids can go play in the playground over in the mission space area. There's also another outdoor playground outside in this area too, where the kids can run around and play. You can kill hours in the front of the park, and I figure easy, so we could easily kill 2 hours before our dining reservation, 2-3 hours before our dining reservation. So that was my philosophy on making that time reservation at Garden Grill. And then when we're done with that and done with the front of the park, boom, we can head into the countries and World Showplace and I didn't make a dinner reservation because I figure we can go through and snack our way up through the countries. I also really want to go to the Japan quick service. There's a quick service in the back of the Japan Pavilion. First of all, I think the Japan Pavilion is one of my favorite pavilions. It is so beautiful and so tranquil and just really gorgeous and well detailed. And there's a quick service in the back, which I've never eaten at because usually I have a dining reservation. But this day I don't, so that's on my to eat list. So that's our Epcot day. Now there's again a lot of babies, so people may come and go, people may leave, but anyway, that's my plan for Epcot. I'm not sure if we'll do multi-pass that day. Maybe we will, because it'll probably maximize our front of the park experience. I'm not sure. I have to talk to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and see. Oh, my brother-in-law is not going to Epcot this day. Actually, it's just my sister-in-law, her family, that's 4, my family, but my husband might not go, so I think I'm 4. I think my in-laws, which are 2, so that's 10, and then my Paul's cousin, Laura, and that's another 3, so 13 total. But then the 19th, actually, I have a special date planned. That is with my cousin Jen, who lives down in Florida. If you listen to my last trip report, she's the one we always get together with her, but we had the day we went to Trader Sam's and then had the terrible experience, 2 hours to get over to Wilderness Lodge, yet her husband's drove over. Anyway, and I described before, I baptized her son and she baptized my son. So we're going to have a little Godson Day on the 19th. So it's just going to be Jen and me and then our godson. So my little Luke I'll bring and her Cristiano. So the 4 of us will do something. We might go to a Disney park. We might go to SeaWorld. I'm not sure, but the 4 of us are going to do something together. In lieu of buying Christmas gifts and birthday gifts, we try to do this. We set aside a special Godson and Godmom Day. So, and those are all our set plans. So we have 3 Disney park days that are planned. A SeaWorld day, a Universal day, tentative Universal day, a Chef Mickey's day, which Chef Mickey's is at the Contemporary Resort, so you do not need a theme park to enter there. And then I have plenty of other days that don't have a plan, where maybe I'd run the kids to a park. I'd like to go to Animal Kingdom again. I feel like the kids on our last trip, we went to Animal Kingdom a little late. So this trip, I'd like to go a little earlier. But that's our plan. And then I'll have the owner's locker be picked up either the 21st or the 20th. I'm not sure what the 20th will be there. So probably the 20th. And that's that. That's my plan. So next, be listening for my trip reports. I'll do trip reports just like in the theme park, just like I did the last time. I think that'll be fun for you to hear, especially with a big group. So again, if you are, this trip is focused on big group and little kids. So there'll be tons of information about traveling in larger groups, like over 10. And then with kids, and all our children are under 5. Oh, except for my cousin's son, who is 7. So he's 7. So when he comes, he's older and he's taller, so he can ride actually probably all the rides. But my twins will be under 5 still. So that's that. Anyway, thank you for listening to this a little different episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you in the parks. Yay, I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited. It's coming up. Thank you for listening, and see you real soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Disney Days Planning Podcast. See you real soon.